and welcome back to Gamescom 2025. I'm Jane Douglas from Outside Xbox. This is Mike Channel from Outside Xbox.
Hi.
And this is Ellen Rose from Outside Extra.
Hello.
While everyone was looking the other way, we got ourselves into the stage,
We've
and
stuck
now it's ours.
Don't tell them.
I'm never leaving this sofa's too comfy.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking about the very best of what's here at Gamescom 2025. But first of all, a little shout out to our good friend and colleague Andy Farrant, who couldn't be here.
Yes.
Hi, Andy.
He's holding down the fort back
Yeah.
home. No one's getting in that fort.
No.
Protect the fort, Andy. Thank you. Right, how is your Gamescom going?
Amazing, yeah. Real sensory overload. I think it's sort of fair to say that Gamescom's like truly back this year.
Yeah, I think so.
I know a lot of people who went last year and had a really good time and saw lots of stuff, but I feel like it's just another level this year. So many games, so many people, so many familiar faces for us, you know, as people who've been around the block a few times. But yeah,
Hey.
it's, I certainly have at least. Won't speak for anyone else. But yeah, it's an amazing show, and yeah, it really feels like the full force of the industry is behind it now.
Yeah.
Having a good time?
Yeah, the vibes are back. It's nice seeing everyone getting excited and like just seeing all the games, all the booths, and just being like, oh yeah, cool, things to look forward to. And yeah.
For someone who's not been to Gamescom, just to set the scene, how would you describe the show?
I would describe it as sensory overload.
Yes, you did
but
do that.
video game flavored sensory overload. So there's some amazing booths. You know, you go over to the Netflix booth and they've built an entire like One Piece pirate ship. You know, there's themed stuff for all these games. This sort of, as a public show, you know, rather than just a press focused thing, it's sort of thematic and experiential in a way that I think you have to kind of come and experience. Just the sheer scale of it, you know, if you're into Borderlands, there's an enormous sort of Borderlands logo that you can pose in. There's all these different sort of, there's a Silent Hill F sort of experiential thing going on.
Just over there.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm too scared.
I'm
Yeah.
way too
It's boxed
scared.
in. We don't know what's going on in there.
What could they possibly be doing to
Some
people
kind
in
of
there?
scare ride.
We have no idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, you know, certainly in Europe, there's nothing like it. And I know Gamescom is sort of expanding around the globe as well, to places like Thailand and things like that.
Yeah.
So, but it, you know, it just, if you're a fan of games and you want to celebrate your hobby, I think it's an astonishing place to be.
Not games, but at the Netflix booth where they've got the One Piece
Yes.
ship that you mentioned, where the ocean's made out of Lego because it's
Yes,
right
because
next
there's a
to
Lego
the
One Piece
Lego
game,
One
which
Piece
is
also.
incredible. Yeah.
But they had a Wednesday like claw machine.
Yes.
And I love a claw machine.
Given the opportunity, you'd spend the entirety of Gamescom
That's
probably
my
there
video
trying to.
Yeah.
But anyway, Andy also loves Wednesday, so we were
trying to win him,
trying,
mate.
thinking.
So,
But claw machines have other ideas.
Yeah, we didn't win it. We didn't win
No.
a single thing.
3 goes, nothing.
All right, now on to the actual games.
Yes.
Mike.
Let me tell you about Project Spectrum, right? So this was, I think it's fair to say, one of the big surprises of the ONL show, opening night live. We hadn't heard anything about it previously. It is a horror tactical shooter with asymmetrical multiplayer elements. So it's built by Team Jade, who are a Chinese development team. It's sort of published by Tencent, but I think as sort of debuts go, it was a super memorable, super glossy, super atmospheric kind of horror shooter. So modern kind of combat weapons, like you'd expect from a Call of Duty or similar, but with kind of horrifying enemies and set in this big sort of atmospheric haunted house mansion in the rain. I think it made a big impression, and I actually, as a bit of behind the scenes, you know, the people looking after that from a PR perspective got in touch about a week ago and said, hey, you should really come and look at this. And it feels like the sort of best kept secret on the show floor. One of the things I love about these kind of shows when you meet sort of friends and colleagues within the industry is where you have this sort of like industry scuttlebutt where people are like, have you seen this game? It's super exciting. And I think you can see it on the screen here, this sort of almost like Alan Wake, Silent Hill, sort of misty forest. What it reminds me of is games like Fear. Do you remember Fear as a sort of horror tactical shooter, but crossed with kind of Rainbow Six Siege style action? So yeah, hugely impressive debut at ONL, bit of buzz around it, and we've actually seen it being played live in front of us. So we haven't had hands-on, but we have seen the developers themselves playing a sort of true asymmetric multiplayer match. So what you can see here is this sort of these kind of PvE elements, so these apparitions and things like that. So there is a very strong PvE element, but there's also this creature called the Executioner, which I'm sure you'll see later on, which is this sort of. Have you seen the game Carrion with its kind of weird motion
and a little bit like the Mimics and Prey as well?
Yes, it's got that sort of vibe. So there is a player playing as that Executioner creature and stalking you around the thing. But as you can see, I mean, like,
hello.
This is spooky as enough.
We've got mannequins.
Not a horror game until there's a mannequin.
Things falling off the wall. So like these little scripted sequences and stuff. One of the things I think is quite cool is it has a sort of a meter measuring your kind of mental well-being and mental state. And there are a lot of games that kind of do that, and it's almost always just a negative thing when your quote-unquote sanity level drops below a certain threshold. But what the developers were telling us when we went to see the game was that actually, in certain circumstances, this sanity system can actually work in your favor. So there are certain characters and classes where having a lower level of sanity will actually make you more effective in combat. So it's a really interesting balance. It's like, how do you want to play it? Do you want to play as one of those people who stays super safe and tries to maintain their sort of, their fear level?
Okay.
Or do you want to like sail close to the wind and really allow it to drop? The problem is as you allow that level to drop, you will be attacked by sort of apparitions. I mean, this stuff's scary enough already.
Example.
Yeah.
But these sort of shadowy figures will appear in this real sort of like, sleep paralysis apparition.
Yeah, that
vibe.
was the exact vibe,
And they will attack you. They can physically attack you. But what they were saying was that there might be things like shortcuts in the environment that you can't see when you're, when your mental level is kind of hunky-dory. But as you descend more into the kind of madness of what's going on, shortcuts may open themselves up to you and things like that. So I just thought the environments were super slick. The enemy design looks really, really creepy. And obviously the asymmetric stuff, which we'll see shortly, is super appealing as well. Obviously it's got that kind of like co-op shooter vibe. Again, very inspired by things like Rainbow Six Siege, but also the novel Solaris apparently was a big inspiration for that kind of psychological horror, according to the developers of the game.
It's a highfalutin reference.
Yeah, well, I like it, and I think culturally, there's been a big divide, I think, in video games, like West and East divide in terms of developers and things. But obviously, we're seeing a lot more games coming from the West. Black Myth, Wukong,
from
obviously,
the East.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, from the East to the West.
Yeah.
And so they don't necessarily have the same influences. What we can see here is the Executioner character. It's a real sort of Lovecraftian horror monster. What you'll have noticed in this gameplay is how powerful and fast this creature is, and I did ask them about how it was going to play because it seemed like this thing was massively overpowered. And what they were saying was actually, to a degree, there's a kind of loadout system with that creature, so you'll build it the way you want to play it as well. But what they were showing us was it in one of its fastest and most aggressive forms. But there are other forms of that will be kind of stealthier and more about stalking the other player characters. So there's going to be variety there. I did ask them if they were ever planning on adding, because that's quite a distinctive character design in terms of the tentacles and things. I did ask them if they were considering other sort of horror-inspired designs, and they said nothing planned yet, but it's obviously something they've thought about as well.
And on the campaign side, did they speak on that?
So what they said was that there are sort of two. You're actually not just playing a single character. You're playing what they described as an operator. So it was difficult to get like full details because they didn't want to talk a lot about that stuff. I guess it's still in development. But what it reminded me of was XCOM. That idea that you recruit your troops and you select which ones you think will operate best in battle, and then you send those agents out. So it's operator is the kind of overarching mode, and agents are the characters that are out in the field. And so you'll be recruiting them. I assume there'll be a sort of budget that needs to be sort of balanced. And you'll send them out into what they describe as these ember zones. So it's this anomalous event has happened, and these areas have become sort of off limits to the general public, and you're sending it. It's sort of like Ghostbusters with M16s, basically. And so yeah, you will be playing not just the on the ground stuff, but you will be also, dictating how as a sort of organization this stuff is handled. So interesting take on it, definitely. Other stuff they mentioned was there's a crafting system, a kind of quick crafting system. So you'll have seen in the gameplay demo, at one point the character pulls a rag out of a Molotov and wraps it around a shovel to create a sort of flaming shovel.
Okay.
So they want to have that kind of inventive crafting thing, but it's got to be something that you can do on the fly in the middle of a terrifying firefight when you're scared out of your mind.
When you're teetering on the brink
On
of
the brink
the edge
of-
of insanity.
Yes.
All right, one to watch. Any word on a release date on that one?
No, we asked about that. They said there's still lots of work to do. This is obviously like a sort of what they describe as a vertical slice, so a kind of flavor of what the game will be like. But obviously we were very impressed by how polished it was.
Yeah.
But they said they've got a lot of work to do. They're desperate to get it into the hands of players, and I think
Okay.
they've been really heartened by the response to it at ONL as a sort of debut of their game. So they're very excited, but I think it's a little ways out, but what a strong
All right.
showing.
And that was Project Spectrum.
That was Project Spectrum.
Okay, now next on the agenda here at Gamescom 2025, the three of us, we nipped over and played some of the Xbox handhelds.
Yes.
The ROG Xbox Ally X and
Correct.
the ROG Xbox Ally
Not
no
X.
X, not X, Xless.
Yes.
All right.
Xless sounds so weird, but yeah, okay.
All right, we're not calling it that. Microsoft's not calling it that. Actually, just before we sat down just recently, actually, Microsoft confirmed the date.
Yes.
So that's October the 16th for the release date on
Very
both
exciting.
of those. Yet to confirm the pricing, although the scuttlebutt is $900
The rumor is that, yes.
for the fancy one.
Yes.
And $550 for the slightly less fancy one, which
Yeah.
is chonky.
But reflective of the performance of these devices, right? I think perhaps if you're used to your handhelds being, Nintendo Switch or maybe even Steam Deck, these are, lower priced handhelds, but there are these kind of super powerful PC-based handhelds that have existed, like the original ROG Ally. And these are phenomenally performant bits of kit, essentially. And so the Ally X in particular, I think is going to be, I think we were saying it's about the price of 2 Nintendo Switch 2s.
Right.
But having played it, I was quite impressed by what we played. I played a bit of Forza Horizon 5 on there. It was buttery smooth, looked really, really nice on
It
that
did.
screen.
It did, yeah.
And so you're really paying for, I think, current gen games to be played in a handheld form factor, which, in terms of the generations of video games before this, that has not been something that's been possible, right?
Alan, you were playing Liza P.
Yeah.
On the X, the X one, the fancy
the X,
one.
Yeah.
the fancy one, yeah.
Okay, the black one.
Yeah.
How did you find it?
It looked so crisp. It looked like, because part of that game's, the wonderful thing about that game is just like the art style and how pretty it looks. And it did look pretty on that screen, and it played well. Like, it's so important to, it's all about timing, those kind of Souls-like games. And I felt like it was very responsive, and yeah, it just, like, his hair never looked so good.
His Chalamet hair.
His Chalamet hair. Yeah.
On point, okay. And
Yeah.
form factor-wise, it was roughly as tall as Mike's
My head,
is.
maybe a
Yes.
little taller.
So
yeah.
it's large. It's large and
Yeah.
in charge. And what do you make of the weight?
It was way lighter than I was expecting. Now, obviously, there's a difference between playing something for 5 minutes and how heavy it feels then versus playing for an hour.
Playing on your back with like it.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And not dropping on
Not
your
falling
face.
on your face.
Most
But
important.
yeah, I was surprised when you looked at it. It's obviously like physically quite large compared to, say, a Switch 2. But in terms of weight, I was surprised by how lightweight it was. Actually, I think it was going to be more comfortable for long gaming sessions than perhaps I anticipated. The ergonomics of it feel pretty good. I think the only thing I would say, from my perspective, is that the triggers are super comfortable because they're extremely large triggers. So they're really comfortable. Your finger kind of sits on them quite comfortably. But I would say it's a little bit of a reach to the shoulder buttons. On an Xbox controller, you can actually hit the shoulder buttons just by leaning, like almost rolling your finger onto them. You can't really do that on the ROG Ally. So that's the only ergonomic note. It's not really a problem per se, but it is something to bear in mind. But it's got those big wings, so I think a lot of people find the Switch 2 too slim, and indeed the Switch 1 as well. And it gives them that kind of like gamer's claw sort of like hand cramp. I think the sort of curved wings, which include rumble as well, I think will make it quite a comfortable thing to play.
I hadn't clocked the light-up rings around the thumbstick with the various colors, and you reckon they're going to be customizable?
Yeah, I think based on gaming laptops and
you would expect
things like that, yeah, you'll be able to go into, there'll be an ROG toolbox of some sort where you can go in and customize those. If you have a particular shade or aesthetic you're going for, it's sort of the one thing that kind of reminds you that this is actually like a PC product first and foremost. And actually, the games we were playing, we're not playing in a kind of Xbox compatibility mode. What we were playing were the PC versions of those games. And that is, I guess, that's a point of contention or something that needs to be cleared up, is how Xbox native games play and perform on this piece of hardware. Now, obviously, if the PC version runs brilliantly, you can assume it's got the grunt and the sort of power to play these games effectively. But it's all about how that translation layer, you know, the key appeal of this is something that will play your Xbox games, not just PC games, on the go.
All right.
And we're yet to see that.
We are yet to see that. Right, that's the ROG Xbox Ally X, or without the X, here at Gamescom. And now we're going to take just a moment to kick back and enjoy the sumptuous premium sofas here on the stage. We'll be right back after the break, and we're going to talk about Kirby Air Riders, Outside Xbox's 13th birthday, and a whole bunch more from Gamescom 2025. We're not going away, so don't you go away either. Welcome back to the stage here at Gamescom 2025. We're having a lovely time here up on the stage in IGN's glass box of gaming wonders. Thanks for having us, IGN. Now, Gamescom, Mike, just before we proceed, is it's a special occasion for Outside Xbox as a YouTube channel, is it not?
Yep.
It is an anniversary because Outside Xbox was founded, was begun, was birthed.
Yeah.
Here at a Gamescom, correct?
Yes. Yeah, so I moved from Official Xbox Magazine. My final day was the day before Gamescom, and my first day on Outside Xbox was the first day of Gamescom. So literally launched directly into it.
Flew straight to Cologne.
Yeah, genuinely flew straight, went from my leaving do straight to the airport to Cologne. So that was my that's my supervillain origin story.
Yeah, but to Andy, who again, missing Andy.
Yeah.
He'd been kind of like setting things up for us.
Yeah, he'd been working away for a couple of weeks on getting everything set up. Yeah. But yeah, so Gamescom is very special for us, and it's really nice to be back actually, because that was our first sort of wide-eyed launch, and it was really nice as a new channel to be able to meet a bunch of different developers and see a bunch of games, and then have a bunch of content to really start strong. And so a show like Gamescom was the perfect place for that.
All right, happy birthday, Outside Xbox.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Right, now back to the games.
Yes.
Okay.
Ellen, you've played Kirby Air Riders. You watched the 45 minutes Nintendo Direct on Kirby Air Riders. What can you tell us about Kirby Air Riders?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I got a hands-on with Kirby Air Riders, and the one word that I would use to sum it up is chaos.
Okay.
Is chaotic, but in the best way. So for people who haven't played the series, and I found the Direct extremely useful because it told me how to play the game. They were like, it's basically Mario Kart, but also it's not Mario Kart. Don't play it like Mario Kart, otherwise you will crash all the time.
Direct quote from the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah.
It's basically Mario Kart.
Is that strong? Yeah, everyone do that.
Fair.
So yeah, and so we're seeing some footage here. So basically, the only control you need to worry about is going left and right. Don't push forward because you will steer yourself down into the ground. And then you use the B button to basically kind of drift in and then push hard out of corners.
Okay.
And it's all about building up your speed boosts. And then here as well, you're collecting various weapons and power-ups and stuff that you can use around the course. And so what's exciting as well for people who played the original game is there's a ton of new Kirby characters in there, because previously it was basically Kirby and one other.
This guy with the super spicy.
Yeah, with super spicy, he's just throwing food at people and making things explode. I mean, brilliant. And little mushrooms, got extra protection with that, and it's great. You just everything is absolute chaos. And so I wish so my little hands-on. We didn't do much of the actual racing. So there's another mode within the Air Riders, but you've got a city. that you sit in, you go around and you collect. There's like a round where you just go hog wild and collect as many power-ups as you possibly can, and then you're thrown into a mini game. And depending on all the power-ups that you've picked up, that is what sort of determines what mini game that you would be best at. And so like you get to like 4 things that you can choose, and it's like, oh, should you go for this one because you're more powerful, like go for one where you can like really like beat everyone up, or hey, you've got more flying skills, do a flying thing. So like, and I did that, and it's the round before. So here we go. Yeah, the urban district here. You're riding around, and you're just smashing things up, collecting all these power-ups, and it's absolute chaos. It's absolute chaos.
How many people were you playing with?
So I had 4 other journalists like playing with us, and then a bunch of CPU characters.
Okay.
And also, as you're gathering up all of these power-ups, you can just absolutely rinse each other out, like blowing things up. There was a thing that I kept picking up, the spike ball, and you throw a spike ball, and it just like you can smash other players to bits with it. There's all these power-ups and everything. You're trying to prevent other people from picking up all of these power-ups so that you can have the edge when it comes to the next round of the mini game. But like playing it, I really felt like so yeah, this is the melee version, and this feels like a game that is easy to learn but hard to master, because I was like, you know, they're oh, it's only one button. It's only one button, and then you go left and right. It's fine. And I was just like, I think I'm doing this right. I was just like going into walls, and then I came out of it like, oh, I won. Great.
You won.
Oh my god.
Right,
I
well,
won
you were
one of the
doing it right
things.
then.
Yeah, like one of them, I got like the most like power-ups at the end of it, and I was just like, I was just going for it. I improved. My first one, I only got 25 power-ups. Second one, I got like 79 power-ups. So I like worked out. I'd broken the system. But I think, yeah, Kirby Air Riders, like fans of the original game, are going to be extremely happy with this, because this is just like layers upon layers more than the previous game, especially with all these extra bits. And it's like the gourmet race.
Tell me about the gourmet race.
Just I didn't get a hand on it, but my favorite thing is like you've got these wonderful like photorealistic things that you can pick up as you're driving around anyway. Yeah, like video
like
game
very
food
hungry
looks,
caterpillar.
yeah,
the video game.
because like even when you're not playing the gourmet race, like you can just like pick up apples as you're going around, and they help you with your health and stuff. But it's all about just trying to just get as many power-ups as possible and try and not to like explode
Now,
immediately.
Mike, why does Kirby need an air vehicle when he could eat an air vehicle?
Yeah, he could eat an air vehicle,
Well,
possess an air vehicle,
you
eat
can
his
eat
opponents.
You can eat opponents and enemies around to get power-ups. So I like powered up as Link, and I went around with my little Master Sword being whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Or you can like get other enemies around, and like if they don't have like a particular power that you can use, you just immediately shoot a star out. And like when you're attacking other players as you're driving around, it doesn't slow them down. So I was getting hit, not getting slowed down, but what it does is give you a boost. So it's sort of different to Mario Kart. Mario Kart, you're trying to slow everyone down so you can just get past the other slower people. This one, every attack is just a boost for yourself.
I think
which is a different, yeah.
The most unsettling thing is that now we know that actual food exists in the universe of Kirby, and yet he still chooses to eat people, objects, such as his deviance.
Predilection.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The thing is, a lot of the other, so like even though like they said in the direct they didn't want to make Kirby this super overpowered character because like he can absorb other people, so other people can like capture and get powers other ways. So there are a couple of them that can, yeah, like there's one with a big long tongue that eats just sort of.
I should be playing as the one who throws curries around the place.
Yes.
That looks amazing.
Super spicy cooking.
Super spicy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not your customary like ultra realistic
No.
physics-based racing game, right? But you're interested.
No.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's I think in a way the whole it's basically Mario Kart is almost self-deprecating. I think it's doing it in service because
yeah.
that footage looks crazy. The chaotic nature, like you say, the mini games. I think it's good that they showed this mode here at Gamescom, because I think if they had shown just the kind of racing stuff, I think people so soon after Mario Kart would have been a bit like, is this really the next game that we're supposed to be excited about. Whereas this battle mode is clearly going to be a sort of great online multiplayer party game thing.
Okay, so another one to watch here at Gamescom 2025. That's Kirby Air Riders. Now, Mike.
Yes.
What else have you seen? I know you've seen like a handful of interesting curators here on the show floor.
The joy of a place like Gamescom is that you can just wander around and there's all these different booths. Like every game you could possibly imagine is here, is represented in some regard. So I went and checked out a few of my own sort of little interests. I played a bit of Project Motor Racing.
Mike's little interest.
Yeah, Mike's little interest is just racing cars and old arcade games.
Welcome to the Mike's little interest portion of the show.
So essentially, I played a bit of Project Motor Racing. It's by the guys who made Project Cars back in the day. This is their new sort of...
A lot of projects here at Gamescom.
Yeah, they love a project. So you can see some footage here. They've announced Porsche are in the game. They've announced weather, time of day. Look at those puddles. Beautiful. What I think is really interesting about this game and that might have an effect on other games on console is the addition of mods, so on-console mods. So what they're saying is that modders are going to be able to make cars, even licensed cars, and submit them to their UGC, their user-generated content portal. What they will do is talk with the manufacturers of those cars, approve the kind of handling of them, make sure they're of good quality, and place them on console as free DLC, essentially made by modders. And I was asking them about this. I was saying, well, this is going to cost you a lot of money because licensees want to get paid, right? And they were saying, we're going to run it as a loss leader. So essentially, they're going to pay the licensing fees. But in a way, if you think about it, a game like Gran Turismo, which has car updates to keep the game fresh, they have to develop those cars. The way this works is the community develops the cars, they approve them, they talk to the manufacturers, check that the manufacturers are happy, and check that the handling works, and then it's released to the game as a free DLC. So I thought it was a really interesting take, and they're doing it as a loss leader, but actually will keep this game fresh and allow them to have high-quality content sort of crowdsourced by the community. So I thought that was really interesting, because typically, you know, mods for racing games are a real nightmare, because if someone makes a modded Porsche are going to get upset about it if they're not getting paid. I thought this was a really interesting solution to that problem, and something that could be applied to, I don't know, other sports games or other games where modded content might cross over with licensed, copyrighted stuff. So you imagine a game that, you know, is an action game and people want to put a character from a TV show in. Imagine if the developers could go to that TV show and license that character. So I thought that was really interesting.
Imagine the negotiations.
Well, this is it, and I'm glad it's not my job. And we met the person whose job it is, and he, you know, fair play to him. He seems confident he can make this work.
Okay.
But I love the ambition.
Very nice.
I thought it was a really interesting take for a smaller team, for a smaller development team that can't necessarily fill a game with licensed cars. This is a great solution, and you know, modding teams and modding in racing sims has been around since the year dot. So there'll be a community that I'm sure is ready to embrace that technology.
Interesting.
The other thing I saw was a sort of under the TV plug-and-play light gun solution. Now, you remember arcade light guns? You know, Point Blank, Time Crisis, House of the Dead, that sort of thing?
Yeah, you're taking us back.
Yeah, right. Well, the problem is that they only ever really worked with CRT television, so old cathode ray tubes. What this device called GAME, it's really awkward. It's called GAME, but instead of AME, it's AIME.
Ungoogleable.
Utterly ungoogleable.
Okay.
It's just going to correct your spelling.
Okay.
But it's a great bit of kit. The idea is that it's plug and play. It uses AI, because it doesn't everything these days.
Oh, is that why it's GAIM?
Yeah. Well, no, it's
because
you're aiming like you're aiming a gun.
Oh.
But I guess also that.
But also,
maybe.
okay.
It could be like a 3-layer pun going on here.
No.
But the idea is that it works with your flat screen TV. It uses AI and it can kind of detect what's going on. So we had a bit of a play with that.
Okay.
It's plug and play. You just plug the guns in, plug in the HDMI and the power, and it will play classic Namco shooting games, including Time Crisis, Point Blank, which is my favorite shooting game of all time. It is the greatest. And also a couple of Steel Gunner games as well.
Yeah.
So
On your massive television.
yeah, on a
That's
massive
a
television.
specific massive television.
Yeah, or
On
any
a
size
massive
television. They've sort of
Okay.
been training the AI with different living room environments and different screens and things to make sure it works. But it's great. I would say it's not quite as responsive as the original arcade things. There's a little bit of, as you drag the gun across, there's a little bit of drag there, but it's totally playable. And there's a version that comes with 2 guns, so you can play Point Blank 2-player. I just think as a sort of Christmas, it's coming out before Christmas, thing to sort of chuck on the TV for a party game. It's really nice to see light gun games coming back.
Okay, now we're running low on time.
Yes.
So I'm going to have to press you. What's your MVG? What's your most valuable game of the show, including, if you can cast your mind all the way back to opening night live? Highlights, please. I'm going to go to you, Mike, first.
I'm super excited about Resi Requiem. I think that's looking really, really sharp. I think having been in the crowd back at ONL, that absolutely got the biggest pop of the night. I think people were so hyped for it. Those guys don't miss anymore, you know. So yeah, super excited for that. Can't wait to play it.
All right. What about you, El?
I'm going to have to be that person and say Silk Song. Like,
not just that person. There's a lot of people who would say that.
Yeah,
there's a lot of
Nintendo.
I just and like the thing is, like, I've got my Switch with me. I just want to be like, Nintendo, like, can I just have a copy and take it home now? Yeah, like, I loved Hollow Knight. It's brilliant Metroidvania game. If you've not played it, go play it. And yeah, I'm very excited for this new one. I think it'll be. Loads of people have been excited. It's basically, we were talking about this, it's turned into a meme more than a game at this point. As like, even before opening night live, they were like, oh, there's a bit in this where everyone talks about Silk Song and then it doesn't show up. But no, it was there. And we were like, great. So yeah, I think that's the one that a lot of people are very excited about at Gamescom, including
What's caught your eye?
Well, Resident Evil Requiem, of course. And actually, they've built a Raccoon City, like, police facade, police department facade over at the Capcom booth. So very excited for that. And obviously Fallout Season 2, not a game.
Yes.
A game adjacent, opening night live.
It looks so good.
That looked wicked. And we've seen some other stuff that we can't talk about yet, but it's also extremely
What a great reason to stay tuned to Outside Xbox and Outside Extra.
Yeah.
It's almost like we planned it.
There you have it, folks. It's about time for us to wrap things up. Here in the fish tank, I've been Jane, he's been Mike, she's been Ellen, and we've been Outside Xbox and also Outside Extra. Keep on watching for even more of the good stuff here at Gamescom 2025.